But let's talk about the first thing that I think of whenever I am tasked with the mission or just anything in life, really. The first thing I think of is purpose, like why I'm doing what I'm doing. If I am personally tasked with the mission and I don't know why I'm doing it, it might as well be thrown out the window. And I'm going to try to relate this to like the civilian side of it, right? Earlier we talked about like weapon selection, okay? The reason that I run my Glock 43 is because it's small. I can easily get to it. It doesn't really bulge if I have to do UC work. A lot of people can't tell if I'm carrying a gun or not. If a bad guy pulls a gun on me, it's easy for me to get. I clear my clothes and I'm able to present because it's small. I know where it is. It holds a decent amount of rounds, and I can safely protect myself or whoever else, you know? So the purpose that I run that is because of its size, the round count, and because I'm used to that weapon. So the reason I bring up the weapon is that's why I carry that Glock 43. The majority of it is for UC work, and because it's small, I can grab it, I can protect myself and others. As far as civilians go, the purpose behind what they're doing needs to be known to them individually, right? So everyone has their own purpose for doing things. For example, like if you go out to dinner and you come back home with your family and you guys pull in the driveway and you look up and your front door is open, you need to have a reason you have the gun that you grabbed to go inside to clear your home. Like we're probably not gonna grab a pump shotgun with a massive barrel on it because that doesn't make any sense. I might grab a small pistol or whatever that I'm comfortable with running. That way I can go inside and negotiate my home effectively. When you decide on your weapon that you want to carry, you need to understand why you're carrying that weapon. Not because it's like the hottest thing on the market, not because your buddy said he shot 500 rounds, there's no malfunctions in it. Like it needs to be individual to you. Like why you run what you run. Same thing with kit. We talked about earlier, I like to be able to move fast. I like my plates smaller. I want to protect my vitals, right? But I don't want like a huge vest that comes out here where I can't move and negotiate. I like to move with speed personally. The whole goal to me in CQB is to not get shot, right? So if I can move faster than someone can react, that's a positive, right? If I'm moving slow and someone can track me and pick me up and say my plates do their job and they smoke me in the chest with a 7.62, I'm still going to be out of the fight. Like I've seen dudes get smoked with a 7.62 and it collapsed lungs before and they're done, you know what I mean? You have to have purpose behind everything you do, especially in CQB. If you're lacking purpose in anything, then it's a recipe for disaster typically. So anyways, yeah, just make sure you have purpose behind whatever you're running and make sure you think through what you're running and why. Let's move on to threat assessment, essentially, right? And this is a big topic too. So your threat assessment, what that means is basically you are assessing whatever you have to attack or defend. When I bring that down to like civilian side, you might think of like, how do I protect my home? Let's say you come home from dinner, your door is open. You need to be able to, before you even get to your doorway, think about like, I have to go from my truck to my doorway. What is the most advantageous route to take? How many windows do I have? Do I know where bad guys are? Do I not know where bad guys are? And that's going to dictate essentially how you're going to make entry back into your home. A big thing for me, like if I come home and my front door's open, I know every angle inside of my house. I know when I walk into the front door, what's left, what's right, what's in front. So you have to be able to think about all those things. And you have to be able to assess your environment essentially before you even meet your obstacle. Yeah, so just make sure you can assess, think about like your angles that you're going to step into, what needs to be cleared first before you actually ever do it. Like you need to visually in your mind run through that before you execute it. And then that's kind of going to tie in with your capabilities as far as your weapon goes and yourself. Like right now it'd be really, really difficult for me to throw a pack on and run 10 miles. That'd be hard. That's probably pretty far out on my capabilities or my abilities, but I can throw this vest on and run to the training center. You know, I'm able to do that. You have to understand what you can do and what your gear can do. Like if I get like these plates here, they can stop, you know, 5.56, 7.62, 40 cal or whatever. But if I have soft vest and someone, you know, hits me with a 308, it's going to hurt real bad and probably not going to stop it, you know? So the capabilities end at like a 308 essentially, right? For like soft vest and things like that. Yeah, so you have to understand what your capabilities are and what your gear's capabilities are. You don't ever want to, you know, push your gear to a point of breaking essentially because then it's useless. And you also don't want to push yourself past that point either. So yeah, just knowing your capabilities, your abilities, massive part of CQB and basically general rule of life. So moving forward, earlier we talked about like weapon selection and why I run things. What I want to cover real fast is just a very brief segment over weapon manipulation. Weapon manipulation is one of my favorite subjects just because it helps out, like small things lead up to big things, and a lot of the small things that you do, if you can do them successfully, it'll end positively for you. So we talk about weapon manipulation. I'm only going to talk about the AR right now. So earlier I told you I had this Vicker style sling. First off, that's a big plus to me. I really, really like the Vicker style sling because I can adjust it, right? And that's a part of that manipulation, just being able to manipulate the weapon to what you need at the time, right? So like I said earlier, if I'm in a house and I'm engaged, or if I'm punched out, ready to go, and then let's say that there's a bad guy and I'm giving him commands or whatever, and I'm saying, hey, get on the ground, he's not wanting to listen, I can easily call for my cover, I'll be contact, tighten my sling up, and I can go hands-on if I need to, right? If all of a sudden bad guy decides he wants to pull a knife or something like that, it's very easy. I just swing back around and punch back out and I'm ready to go again. When we talk about manipulation, first, before we get into that, you have to understand that the weapon is basically just a extension of you. I have to know how far my weapon is going to stick out past my arm. If I'm going to run up on this right here, let's say this beam, the second beam right here, is going to be a threshold or like a corner hinge point, essentially. I'm going to run up to it, and then as I get close, I will suck this in, and that's kind of the manipulation. Going from here, because I don't want to overextend my barrel where it's in the doorway, and I will just manipulate the weapon using my body mechanics to pull it back some, and now I'm closer. It's simple as this, like bending the wrist here, rotating this back over, and now I'm here, and I can still engage if I need to. If you've got iron sights or 45-degree angle offset, it's very easy to engage like this. And of course, from here, if I see a bad guy, it's easy to punch out and be here. Now, as far as manipulating the weapon around a door frame or something like that, so I'll use this and I'll just kind of give you like a brief overview, right? This isn't a doorway or nothing like that. It's just something that's here with us, and we're going to use it to our advantage right now. We're not going to talk about approach or anything like that. This is already to the door. I've already pinned it, made sure there's nobody in that corner, and now I've got to step into the room, essentially, right? What I like to do is run up, and if I want to get close, I'll suck it in. If I want to back up, I'll be back here. The manipulation part of the weapon comes as I step in, and I suck this back in. And let's say now this weapon is like halfway across my body, right? I can step out like this and punch, boom. The manipulation part of it is just basically moving the weapon around your body, right? Because speed and time and distance all come into play when you talk about CQB. And like I said, using your weapon and just practicing with it and getting to know your individual weapon and your body mechanics is massive in CQB. You have to have intention, you have to know what you're doing. If I'm going to, let's say I'm just running my pistol, right? And I punch out and I'm on a doorway or whatever. Again, I can do this right here. I don't necessarily like to, just because I can basically present. I can also like bend my elbows. A lot of the manipulation will come from like body mechanics, like hinge points in your body. So like wrists, elbows, shoulders, knees, hips, that kind of stuff. If we talk about manipulating the pistol, a lot of times what I'll do is if I'm going to button hook or something like that, I'll pie across, and then I'll step like this. And then as I come into the doorway, I might present like this. It depends on the size of the room. It depends on like the doorway and things like that. If I could just run out like this and just punch out, I'll do that. What I don't like to do is just turn across and stick my gun out before I am entering the room. If I'm running a pistol, it's probably real tight quarters, because I love to run my rifle in every scenario. It's just a better weapon platform, more accurate for me personally. But anyways, yeah, if I'm going to run my pistol, usually I'll be presented out and I'll come across, and I might suck in just a little bit for my body mechanics. I don't want to be punched out and run into a wall, so I might be sucked in here, and I might be presenting as I'm entering or right before I'm entering that room. Big thing a lot of guys do, they'll be running like this and they'll just kind of step in like that. And like if you got a bad guy who's just on the other side of a wall and he sees a gun come in and he's got half a second, his reaction time is probably going to win. He'll probably be able to grab it or at least deflect you. You want to keep your weapon tight until you're in the room and punch out accurately. Wherever my gun is going to set up at, right? Let's say I've got a snap. This is called like a snap, where you like basically push down with this and up with this. I will start here. So this is where my weapon is going to naturally set at. And instead of like being here and snapping and punching out, if I could just set this, right, this point here where it's going to end up, and I just snap up here like that, that's just one less movement you have to do. Yeah, it's kind of just about like touch points on your body. A lot of people talk about touch points for the weapon. You have touch points on your body too. And if you can place those weapons where they're going to be touching your body before you even have to, present or something like that, it's just one less step you have to complete.